is it about that your specific roles that you relate to?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe Jef and Kate.
Jef and Kate.
Since you guys are.
You go first. Go ahead.
Go, Jef.
I'm a composer. I write music, and I'm a promising young composer. And so there comes a point where when you're a kid, you want to be a pop star, but pop stars aren't necessarily like they're young, and then when you're older, you're just a washed up pop star. And so I'm getting to the washed up age without ever actually hitting my pop star status. So that's like a kind of how I relate to the role. So as a musician, I can vibe with a lot of the things being said. So I bring a lot of myself into the role for sure.
For me, how I relate to Susan, at one point in my career, like I decided to also kind of take a break and pursue, I guess, a more, simple life where I went back to school. I was working in a car dealership as a receptionist. Like I just,
Really?
yeah, in Canada. So I took that time to like veer away from, I guess, the creative path. And that's really like what Susan is wanting. I mean, she teaches dance, she's a dancer herself, and she has these big dreams, but at the same time, she comes to a point where she realizes that, I want a family, I'm okay living away from the city and, taking a more simple way of living. So I guess that's also how I can relate to Susan. And I mean, well, at this point in my life as well, I mean, even though I am still pursuing performing and I also do radio, but at the same time at this point in my life, I feel like I'm also kind of getting there. I mean, I am 30, or 31, but I mean, that's not too far away as well in terms of, having a family and settling down and stuff. So I definitely can relate as well to Susan. Yeah.
This is not
I relate so much to Susan, as in before I've said this countless times. I can't even remember how many times I've said it, but I relate to Susan so much more now compared to to 2016. I thought her character, not doing it, I love doing that role. I love the music, everything about it, but like her personality, I found it so boring. So boring. Why do you not want to live in NYC? It's where the art life is and everything. And now, after going through the pandemic, Susan wants peace and quiet. That's exactly what I want. And I actually...
I'm sorry.
Quite
Sorry, okay?
And now, actually, I can see bits of it in, like, a pocket version of it in my life. Because my husband, right there, if you didn't know, I'm married to that guy. He makes content on TikTok. And he gets millions of views. He makes educational content. But it's fun. I love seeing him do what he's passionate about, which is the same with Susan and John. Like, Susan loves seeing John do what he's passionate about. But of course, like, she wants peace and quiet also. But whenever I see him, and with that, with that platform comes the responsibility of dealing with trolls, dealing with people who don't understand what you do and just have nothing better to do with their day except crap on your content. And I'm like, why do you deal with this? Why do you deal with this? And he loves it. And I think that's a lesson for me. Every single day I watch him make his content. I'm like, I want peace and quiet, but I'm also finding the balance of being able to do what I'm passionate about. Because I started content creation too, but I just can't deal with it the same way again. So I was like, whatever, you do it. You be a TikTokerist if you want. I'll just crochet. So I'm like there. I'm like crocheting, but also making content, singing, performing, and it's that balance I'm trying to marry. And I think that's what I kind of relate to with Susan. Except I don't break up with her.
My turn. I relate so much to John, actually. It's the pressure and the anxiety that an artist faces in this crazy industry. I've been in the showbiz industry for 12 years now, and it's vastly changing over the past 3-4 years. I'm sure you guys know how much it has changed after the pandemic. We artists were kind of forced in a way to do other things out of our comfort zone. We started to become content creators. We started to, try and adapt to the changing scene of this industry, and that's what I'm going through as an artist also. Because during the pandemic, there was no TV and film productions, and I was primarily a TV and film actor. So it took a huge toll on me. All my projects were canceled indefinitely. I didn't know where to, find work. So we had to, choose different paths. Pero in my head, I would always think, I don't want to sell out, Mike. The lines of John. So it's always been a battle for me, and especially this year, because this year I'm very thankful that finally we can do things like this again, after the restrictions were eased and the pandemic is ending now. We finally get to do the things that we love doing again, and but then I was faced with the same anxieties that John faced when this is all back to normal, with all the new artists, everyone that's new and who have so much to bring to the table. Who am I now? I've been here 12 years. What else could I bring to the table? People have been seeing me in all these projects. So what can I offer pa? Like, what can I do more to even make my career even longer and get work? And that's exactly me at the start of this year. But I'm thankful that I'm able to play John in Tick Tick Boom, because this is me actually embracing my passion again, because I really wanted to grab hold of that passion again. Pero yung character is an anxious person. So but yeah, that's how I really do.
Me, it's so funny because I think the pandemic is what taught me how the hell to do this. I can relate to each and every character. It's very rare that you get to do a show as an actor and you can relate to each and every single one. I relate to John's optimism, Susan's realism, and Michael's pragmatism. So I can see that these three people do represent. I know it's the story of John, but the funny thing is each and every one of them are very important because it's the story of the three of them, really. It's the story of chasing your dreams and giving up so many things in return just to be able to reach that dream. And then you also have people who are willing to give up on their dreams because they need to survive. And then there are people who are just like, I'm done. I want a quiet life in the countryside. I want to live in Siargao or something. It's you really do have people like that. And it's a reality. It's funny. This was written, it was supposed to be set in 1990, but it's still relevant today. The technology is different, but the story is still a very human story of how far are you willing to go to stretch yourself out to try and reach for something that is probably an impossible dream. The guy who wrote this died the day before his show actually opened. That's the sad reality of being an artist. Sometimes you do kind of literally die for your art. How much of that are you willing to take? It's not. That's the anxiety of the whole show. So if it's anxiety, I can relate to it. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that I can relate to my character is the struggles of being an artist, because it's really hard. Like for me, I have lots of responsibilities for my family, and this is my passion. It's really hard for me to stay in this industry. And one point in my life, I really tried looking for a corporate job, and so I think those layers that I can really put it in the table, that experience, that point in my life, into my role, because I'm just happy right now that I'm still here doing what I love to do, and securing and giving security to my family as well. So.
So, anyone who wants
in 2016 and now. So what makes it different? And then what's your approach into this role coming into this production? Like we know for a fact that 2016 from now is quite different. So how do you plan to approach this role this time around?
The big difference between this production and last production is that our production family is bigger. And having alternates and having other cast members there to kind of like dig through the material has been an incredible addition. So there's a lot more things that are becoming clear about the script, and it's becoming, it's like flourishing. It's like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's blossoming into something very different than it was before. I don't, maybe I was just dumber then. But I'm definitely seeing a lot more things, and I have these people to thank for it. Being able to like sit back and watch Khalil do the run and then notice things and say, oh, like, I missed that. And then having Red coming up to me and saying, you missed that. And then having Robbie come up to me and be like, you're missing that. And I'm like, I'm missing it. So yeah, the big difference now is that we're older and we're wiser and we're bigger. So.
And just a follow up. So what's your tick tick boom moment for you? It's up to you on how you interpret that question.
My tick tick boom
Moment, yeah.
I was last year. I was hiding away during the pandemic. There was no work, and I decided that I was not going to perform anymore. I said, I'm in the States now. This is my life now. I gotta figure it out now. And then I just decided to like spend every dollar I had to come back to the Philippines. I bought a ticket from Maryland to the Philippines, leaving like the next week. It wasn't a planned thing. It was like, I'm leaving. I've decided to do this, and that was my I make a vow right here and now moment. So I guess that was my moment.
And for Jack Robbie, so my question is, so you mentioned they're gonna shuffle, right, the cast, in terms of production. So we're able to determine how many permutations or combinations
8.
you have for them. Oh,
We have 8 combinations. We have 11, 12 shows.
11 at the moment.
11 at the moment. So 3 of those combinations will
Oh.
repeat. So I was invited to a birthday party on the second Saturday of our opening, and I said, I will follow after the show. And they go, the opening show mo, just don't know what. Sabi ko, the first 8 shows are opening nights because it'll be the first time they'll be playing. And for some combinations, that'll be the first and last. Unless we have 16 shows.
Okay.
Jef, Rev, and Bien.
Oh yeah.
In combination.
Susan.
And Khalil, Tanya. Okay, so kailan